going to get a little bit bashing for this, but I want to start off this video by saying that Malaysia's CKD and SKD operations are not really that good for us. CKD, well, which is an acronym for completely knocked down, and SKD is an acronym for semi-knocked down, is basically the terms that we use for cars that are locally assembled. Which is great and all because it creates jobs and at the same time it makes cars more affordable. But I think somebody forgot to tell the manufacturers that, look, if you're going to be assembling these cars over here, that's all well and good, but please make sure that whatever that you're assembling here meets the standards of whichever country of origin that you're coming from. I'm talking about the Mazda 6 Sedan, and it is truly a very nice car, and I'll explain why. But most importantly, it's built in Japan, and I'm just blown away. But before we get into this, I want to say hello and welcome to the Piston Show, and I just need 60 seconds of your time to acknowledge our sponsors. We'll be back. This video is brought to you by Berjaya Sompo Insurance. Get Sompo Motosafe by Berjaya Sompo. The less you drive, the less you pay. It's that simple. Choose from 3 different mileage plans with affordable premiums to fit your driving needs. Perfect for those who drive occasionally. Plus, enjoy extra perks like unlimited towing, 100% special perils, and all driver coverages. Ready to drive smart and save big? Switch to Sompo Motosafe today. Head over to Berjaya Sompo Insurance and start saving now. Well, for starters, this is not your ordinary Mazda 6. This is the 20th anniversary model, and this is Mazda's way of celebrating 20 years of the Mazda 6, which makes this a truly special car. And it has some features and things about it that just makes me go wow. From the outside, it may not seem like much. In fact, this gunmetal grey grille, this LED headlamps, those 19-inch wheels, and this maroon color looks great. But the real star of the show for the Mazda 6 sedan is the interior. Let's go check it out. Now, the thing about CKD or SKD operations is that car makers tend to prioritize profits and such when building their cars. I think Mercedes and BMW are notorious for this. Remember a time when Mercedes used to offer 3 different variants of the same car. You had the Classic, you had the Elegance, and you had the Avant-Garde. BMW had something similar as well, but I just can't remember what they used to call it. And that gave us, the buyer, super good deals because we could basically choose what we want. Those cars were imported models. Nowadays, Mercedes doesn't even put their iconic emblem on the hood. Why? Because CKD. Now they just tell you, we only have the Avant-Garde model, take it or leave it. Such is the arrogance of Mercedes-Benz. I know they can afford to be like that. People are still going to be buying it. And Mazda does it as well. I have a Mazda CX-5, and I can tell you one thing, that the interior is far, far from this model. Look at this. This is a beautiful interior. The stitching, the trimming, this tan leather. Wow, this looks like it belongs in something like a Bentley or something, because this just blows me away. You get this soft touch suede material over here. This is just beautiful, and then this stitching just makes this car feel so premium. It's just such a nice place to be in, guys. And check out these seats. This is leather on the side, and this is suede in the middle, and they are ventilated. And just in case you forget what a special car that you're sitting in, they have 20th anniversary embossed on the headrest. So I think this interior is just wow. I mean, I'm driving this car right after I drove the Mazda 6 Touring, and that felt really nice. But I want this interior in the Touring body shape, because this is just beautiful. The Touring looked great and all, but it had sort of a maroonish interior, and it didn't even have ventilated seats. This is one of my favorite interiors ever, I think. One of the most, I think, top 10 most favorite interiors. This is just something else. And in typical Mazda fashion, you get an 8-inch screen over here with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You get another digital screen over here for your meter panel. This is something that we didn't see in the Touring version. And besides all of that, the interior is largely the same. You also get a sunroof. And this is basically what you get when you buy an imported Mazda. Everything else is locally assembled, but this is an imported version. But the thing about it being imported is that it can be quite expensive as well. It's just 10,000, it costs 10,000 ringgit more than the Mazda 6 Touring. And for a total price tag of just slightly over 240,000 ringgit. Perhaps that's why we don't see more of these cars on the road, because at 240,000 ringgit, we Malaysians will probably want something that our neighbors will be jealous of, something like a Mercedes or BMW. Boring. Now, that same niceness is at the back seats as well. This is a very nice place to be. I'm wondering if this is a tray, because I don't think so. Anyway, it's just beautiful. This tan leather just makes this car feel much more expensive than what it is. So in typical Mazda fashion, you'll get your USB ports in the center armrest over here, and you get your twin air conditioning vents at the bottom here that do a better job at cooling your knee than cooling your face. And besides that, it just feels plush. Spaciousness, yes, it's given. That's the thing about big sedans. They are a dying breed, but at the same time, they're very nice cars as well. If you're interested in this car, I'm guessing that you probably have a family, kids and such. So one of the most important things for such, when you have a family, is a big boot. And the Mazda 6 delivers. It's quite a spacious boot. But I do think that if spaciousness is something that you really want, then the Mazda 6 Touring is something that you should check out. But as I said in that video, we Malaysians are a superstitious bunch, and because the Mazda 6 Touring looks like a hearse, some of you will probably say that, you know, that's just bad luck. I don't think so. I think the Mazda 6 Touring is a very nice car and is worthy of your money. But that costs about 230,000 ringgit. This is 240. This is also a very nice car. Now let's talk about the engine a little bit before we take it out for a drive. So powering the 6 Sedan is basically the same engine that you'll find in the 6 Touring, a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder engine making about 195 horsepower and 258 Newton meters of torque. It does, however, have a slightly higher top speed than the Touring version. This tops out at about 223, where else the Touring tops out at about 219, and not much difference, but a difference regardless. Power is sent to the front wheels via a 6-speed transmission, and this, as I've experienced, is a very efficient powertrain. Of course, there's the 2.5 turbo as well, but we don't get that in Malaysia. Rather, we have a 2.0 version of the Mazda 6 Sedan, which is significantly cheaper, but it's also a bit of a downgrade because it runs on 17-inch wheels and such. If you're going to be in the market for a 6 Sedan, this is the powertrain that you want, because it's a very fine balance of power and efficiency. Granted, power is not that much. 195 horsepower isn't going to give you that shove in the seat that you look for in a car of this price range. But you don't buy a Mazda 6 Sedan, especially the 20th anniversary model, for the powertrain. You buy it for the interior, which I can't wait to get back in. Let's go take it for a drive. Hey guys, what are some of the things that you consider when choosing a petrol brand? For me, I make sure that the petrol can keep my engine clean and also give me better mileage. I'm sure everybody thinks about this when choosing a particular brand. With BH Petrol's Infinity RON 95 Euro 4M, you get precisely that. It has special German additives that reduces the amount of deposits that build up in your engine over the long term, keeping it clean. It also has improved friction modifiers that reduces the amount of friction that your engine has to go through, ultimately giving you better mileage and making BH Petrol's Infinity RON 95 Euro 4M the right choice. So guys, before I start telling you about how the car feels like to drive, I just need to get something off my chest, and something I forgot to mention earlier while we were talking about the boot. Notice that it does not come with a tailgate. For me, that one I cannot accept lah. For a car that costs 240,000 ringgit, doesn't come with a power tailgate, tak boleh lah bro. It's, for me, a bit hard to accept. 240,000 ringgit, now these days, you must have a powered tailgate. Must. Non-negotiable. Must. Okay? There are cars that are so much cheaper, 120, 130k, got power tailgate, yo. Tak boleh. So, now that I got that off my chest, let's talk a little bit about the car. So, as I was saying earlier, I feel like we are being shortchanged when car makers start a local assembly program. But let me make it clear. I totally understand why car makers do that. I do. You know, the last thing that a car maker wants to incur is variable costs. They want to be able to predict how much money they're going to make if they, you know, start local assembly program of a certain model. They want to have projections and such. So the last thing that they want is variable costs. You know, stuff that sort of catches them off guard, and you know, they didn't account for that, and that will just totally mess up everybody's Excel sheets lah. So I know they don't want to do that, hence why they cannot actually give us a lot of stuff. But the one thing that they can do is to give us proper stuff lah, proper nice interiors, you know, maybe give us an option for 2 or 3 different colors, 2 or 3 different materials and such, just like they do it overseas. I know Malaysia is a very small market, but we still spend money lah, right? We spend money, we work hard for money. But and if you work hard for your money, that's what you basically want to have the best bang for your buck. Yeah, how hard is that to understand? So it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. If they give you that, the prices will go up. You know, you're not going to be able to have a Mazda CX-5 at roughly about 160, 170k. You cannot have that. It's going to cost you a bit more. So you let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. I would like to have a little bit more variety. Dude, variety is the spice of life lah, as they say. And this interior is just so nice, guys. If the Japanese can have this, why can't we? I know the answer to that, so don't even bother. So let's talk a little bit about the car. It comes with double glazed windows, right? So what that ultimately results in is a nice, quiet interior. Hushed, refined, beautiful. And couple that with an interior like this, makes it feel so luxurious. No doubt about it. It just feels so nice. The suspension too does a very nice job at soaking up everything. And the Touring that I came out of, the Mazda 6 Touring, does not have this feel. In fact, the Touring is just about 15 kilograms heavier than the Mazda 6 Sedan, but yet the 6 Sedan feels a little bit more urgent. And when I put my foot down, it just feels like it's a bit more enthusiastic to get going. The 6 Touring feels a little bit more lethargic. Power figures are the same, engine is the same. Everything is the same except that the 6 Touring is a bit more heavier because of the bodywork lah, which I can understand. But for some reason, the 6 Sedan feels more urgent. It feels like it wants to get going and wants to go places quicker. That's just my feel lah. So, but besides all of that, I think the Mazda 6 Sedan just feels a little bit more daddy-ish, I think, you know, as compared to the 6 Touring. The 6 Touring, you know, that estate, that hatchback, not hatchback, that estate slash, let me get through this smart tech. That station wagon feel, you know, station wagons are sort of making a comeback, even though not in Malaysia, because as I said earlier, we are still a very superstitious bunch. And but big sedans like the Mazda 6 Sedan are also dying because we Malaysians seem to prefer SUVs. And hence why, you know, certain car makers like Honda Malaysia have stopped offering models like the Honda Accord, because the CR-V, HR-V, WR-V, I've already said this in the Mazda 6 Touring video, but we seem to like our SUVs, hence why car makers like Honda Malaysia had to stop offering the Accord because nobody was buying them. I think eventually Toyota will do the same with the Camry as well, and even Mazda Malaysia. Do you really see Mazda 6 sedans on the road? They're not that many. There are, but they're not that many. But it has that uncle feel, that daddy feel. Like you buy this car, confirm father, confirm somebody's uncle, confirm this, confirm that. Yeah, it's just the image that sedans, big sedans like the Mazda 6 have. But that doesn't make it a bad car. It's a very nice car. Especially this, the 20th anniversary model. I just wish that car makers would localize cars like this and offer us interiors like this. It'll just be amazing. Got that off my chest. So yeah, I truly believe that we Malaysians are being shortchanged by our CKD, SKD operations, because from what I just showed you, the interior is like unlike any other Mazda that we have in our local market that is locally assembled. Previously, when we used to travel to Europe and such to test drive from invitation by some of these European marques, we used to wax lyrical. We used to be over the moon about what we see in those countries, because the cars that we drive there have full specs, full features, everything. But when those cars come here, they become something of a taxi spec. Hardly anything like what the cars were when we saw them in, overseas and such. This is a very nice car. No doubt. This interior is something that you should see to actually experience. For 240,000 ringgit, I know it's not cheap, and it puts it squarely in the crosshairs of some of its European competitors. And I will understand why you would choose that over this. But then again, cars like this are also going to hit the pre-owned market or the used car market later on. So look out for cars like the Mazda 6 that are built in Japan, because they are truly something else. Thank you for watching, and as usual, do consider subscribing.